In 1971, Nixon made a phone call that lasted 15 minutes. That call ended the gold standard. And for 50 years, the world ran on a system built on one single promise: trust us. That promise just broke. Here's something that should be on the front page of every newspaper but isn't. Right now, quietly, methodically, almost secretly, the world's central banks are doing something they haven't done since before World War II. They are dumping US Treasuries, and they are buying gold. Not a little gold, not hedge your portfolio gold. We're talking 4,000 tons in 4 years. That's 40 years' worth of normal accumulation compressed into one presidential term. And here's the part that should make you stop scrolling. They're not doing this because gold is shiny. They're doing this because they no longer trust each other. Okay, let's rewind. Because to understand what's happening right now, you need to understand the deal that held the world together for half a century. After World War II, the world sat down at a hotel in New Hampshire, Bretton Woods, and basically said, all right, we're all broke, everything is on fire, let's figure out money. The deal they struck was elegant in its simplicity. Every currency in the world would be pegged to the US dollar, and the US dollar would be backed by gold. So the whole global financial system was essentially a pyramid, with gold at the bottom, dollars in the middle, and everyone else's currency on top. Then, in 1971, Nixon blew up the bottom of that pyramid. He took the dollar off gold. Just like that. No more gold backing. The dollar was now backed by vibes? Specifically, the vibe that America was trustworthy, powerful, and would always pay its debts. And for 50 years, it worked. Countries didn't need gold anymore. They just held US Treasuries, American government debt, as their reserve asset. It was like the whole world agreed to use monopoly money, but only because everyone believed in the monopoly bank. Then came 2022, and 3 things happened in rapid succession that didn't just shake the system, they rewired it. Number 1, U.S. inflation hit 9.1%, the highest in 40 years. That meant U.S. Treasuries, the safe asset everyone was holding, were quietly losing value in real terms. You were lending money to America and getting back less than you put in after inflation. Number 2, the Fed raised rates faster than at any point since the 1980s. When rates go up, bond prices go down. So every country sitting on a pile of U.S. Treasuries watched their reserves shrink, on paper, almost overnight. Number 3, and this is the one that changed everything. Russia invaded Ukraine, and within days, the U.S. and its allies froze $300 billion in Russian central bank assets. Now, you might think, good, Russia invaded a country, they deserve it. And maybe you're right. But here's what every central bank on the planet saw. Oh, so the rules can change, overnight, without warning, if Washington decides. If you're the central bank of China, India, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, you just watched the world's reserve asset get weaponized, and you thought, what if that's us next? Here's where it gets genuinely fascinating and a little terrifying. For decades, gold and real yields, interest rates minus inflation, moved in perfect opposition. Yields up, gold down. Yields down, gold up, as reliable as gravity. Then, in 2022, the relationship broke. Real yields went up. Gold also went up. It's like watching a ball fall upward. Every model, every hedge fund playbook, every central bank spreadsheet, suddenly wrong. The reason is simple, but seismic. Central banks stopped asking, what's the return, and started asking, will this asset survive if the system breaks? That is a fundamentally different question, and it signals a fundamentally different world.
Let's continue with the debt bomb. Now, layer on top of this the thing that nobody in Washington wants to talk about at dinner. The United States is currently $34 trillion in debt. To put that in perspective, if you spent $1 million every single day since the birth of Jesus Christ, you still wouldn't have spent $1 trillion. The U.S. owes 34 of those. And it's not just America. The UK, Japan, France, Italy, the entire developed world is running debt levels that historically only happened during world wars. Except there's no war to end, no peace treaty that resets the books, just more debt every year, compounding. Here's the uncomfortable math. When a country owes this much, it has basically three options. Option A, grow your way out. GDP grows faster than debt. Historically rare, requires everything to go right for decades. Option B, austerity. Cut spending, raise taxes, suffer politically. Ask Greece how that went. Option C, inflate your way out. Let inflation quietly erode the real value of the debt. Savers get punished, debtors, including governments, win. Most economists, if they're being honest over a glass of wine, will tell you door C is where we're headed. And if that's true, if the long-term plan is to inflate away the debt, then holding government bonds is like lending your neighbor money and letting them pay you back in monopoly money, which brings us back to gold. The China wild card. Here's the wild card that almost nobody is pricing in. China currently holds about 4 to 5% of its reserves in gold. The US holds around 65%. If China, which has the world's second largest economy and is actively trying to reduce its dependence on the dollar, decided to bring its gold holdings even halfway to US levels, we're talking about demand that would dwarf everything we've seen so far. And here's the supply side of that equation. New gold discoveries have been declining for 20 years. The easy gold is gone. What's left is deeper, harder, more expensive to mine. You have record demand, declining supply, and a structural reason, not a speculative one, for central banks to keep buying. And here's what makes this truly irreversible. Unlike oil or wheat, gold doesn't get consumed. Every ounce ever mined still exists, yet the market still can't keep up with this pace of institutional demand. Meanwhile, the BRICS nations are quietly discussing a trade settlement system partially backed by gold, which would create an entirely new, permanent source of sovereign demand that Western markets haven't even begun to price in. That's not a bubble, that's a tectonic shift. But here's what I actually want you to take away from this, because it's bigger than gold. What we're watching is the slow, grinding, uncomfortable end of a financial era, the era of trust the institution. For 50 years, the system worked because everyone agreed to believe in it, like a movie where the special effects are bad, but you're so into the story you don't care. Now people are noticing the special effects. Central banks are noticing, sovereign wealth funds are noticing, and slowly, very slowly, ordinary people are starting to notice too. The question isn't whether gold goes to $3,000 or $4,000 or $10,000. The question is, what does your financial life look like in a world where the old rules no longer apply? Because that world isn't coming. It's already here. So what do you actually do with this information? That's what we're covering in the next video, the 3 asset classes that historically outperform when trust in sovereign debt breaks down. And no, gold is only one of them. If you want to understand money at a level most people never reach, subscribe. It's free, and it might be the most valuable thing you do today.